Portion of this video is sponsored by Henson Shaving. You see all these verses of these phones, and no one declares a winner. It's all about personal preference. Not here. Both these phones on a table. I am going to pick. I know when you compare the Pixel 8 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, things tend to get a little bit saucy. And there is going to be a winner. And the big things to talk about with these phones, I think, is software and camera. So in that vein, let's start with design. So you take both of these phones and you look at them, they are like clearly evolutions of designs from a few years past. You could look at an iPhone 15 Pro, Pro Max, and looks pretty much the same as an iPhone 13 or even an iPhone 12. The Pixel 8 Pro looks slightly tweaked version to the Pixel we had a few years ago. Evolutionary on the designs, but I think that they perfected both of these designs. And I think both brought a lot of useful changes here. On the Pixel side, the new matte glass makes a phone feel incredibly premium in the hand. The titanium on the 15 and 15 Pro feels lighter and feels different. Honestly, just feels better. On the Google side, the Pixel stuck to more aesthetic changes, and the iPhone, I think, brought two major hardware changes that can change how you use this phone. That action button on the side replaces a profile switcher that was there from really the first ever iPhone. I know I'm gonna get it in the comments for this. I use the action button to call my wife. Hear me out. I know I could do a bunch of stuff with it, but that's something that I do all the time, and I can just feel my phone, hit the button, and call her automatically. That has been surprisingly useful. I love having that there, and I think I would miss it if it wasn't there. In fact, when I used the Pixel, I missed not having there. And I know I could use voice dialing and a bunch of other stuff, but not having to look at my phone and dial, something that I do all the time, big thumbs up. The other big feature is the addition of USB Type-C. So adding this to the iPhone has opened up a ton of possibilities. The biggest one is recording to SSDs and connecting to sort of USB hubs. And there's a ton, obviously, of things you can plug in. I talked a lot more about the USB-C in the 15 Pro review. It's been really nice to have. I'm not using as many accessories as I thought that I would, but I do really like just traveling with just one cable, which is obviously something you can do on the Android side for many years. On the Pixel side, the only new hardware feature with the Pixel is a temperature sensor on the back. And with this, you can point and measure temperature of a bunch of stuff. Now listen, I don't know the reason. I would imagine this was something that was talked about in a Pixel like 2 to 3 years ago. When COVID was a big thing, people were worried about temperature all the time. So it does seem strange you can't measure human temperature. I believe they're waiting for FDA approval for that, but if you want to measure the temperature of like a ceramic mug, you can do that. Also, if you want to call your forehead a ceramic mug, you can still measure your temperature and get pretty close. This is a nice hardware feature, and I do think we're going to see this feature come out on other Android phones, particularly in Samsung phones, over the next few years. So we can say Google did it first, but it's not quite so useful right now. So I'm a lot of things. Well, amongst them is a screen snob. I like a good screen. I need a good screen. The quality of that display matters. It's your portal to everything that phone can do. No matter how good the hardware is in the phone, if the screen sucks, in my opinion, the experience on the phone is going to equally suck. Fortunately, both these screens are absolutely incredible and look beautiful. If you took Samsung phones out of the equation, these would be probably two of the best screens on the market. The Pixel, though, has a bit of a secret, I don't know, surprise, extra feature, hidden feature. 2400 nit peak brightness is really bright. And now it's something you don't notice or use all the time, but if you are outside a lot, you do notice it. Not a reason to get one phone over another, but it is there, I think, worth mentioning. But both of these screens, I think, are equally impressive. And these screens have gotten better and better year over year. It's probably color science being dialed in. I think the iPhones have had really good screens for a few years. I think starting with last year's Pixel 7 Pro, we saw Google screens start to not only catch up, but I think equal what Apple is doing. I know talking about comparing two phones can get a little bit salty, so I wanna just calm it down for a minute. I've had this beard for about 4 years, and getting it to look clean is tough. But fortunately, thanks to this video's sponsor, Henson Shaving, they've made it really simple. So if you walk down your local razor aisle, you will see razor blades with up to like 18 blades on them. It's getting a little bit nuts. But if you go to like a barber shop and a barber shaves you, he's using one blade And it's probably the best shave you've had of your life. Henson is trying to bring that experience home and kind of simplify the whole problem of a billion different razor options. It's also crazy sustainable too. So unlike cartridge razors where you're replacing the entire cartridge with plastic and multiple blades, here you're just replacing the blade. Also, the packaging is completely plastic free, which means the cost of shaving per year between $3 and $5 for the entire year. You compare that to a regular cartridge-based razor, an electric razor, that's gonna cost you hundreds of dollars per year. It is an incredible not only value, but also a way to get you the best shave at an insanely low price. If you're sick of all the multiple blade options, new marketing, commercials for things that don't make a difference actually on your face, Henson has simplified it. And in doing that, can give you the absolute best shave you've ever had of your life. If you are a dude with a beard or like a smooth look, whatever it might be, you owe it yourself to check out Henson Shaving for the precision, for the cost of ownership, for sustainability. There's a ton of different reasons why they deserve a look. And if you want to learn more, you got a link to them down below. All right, so screens are good, but processor's been a story on the Pixels for a while. Not something I think people think that much about on the iPhone. But inside, both these phones are rocking really powerful chips. iPhone's got the A17 Pro and Pixel's got the Tensor G3. When the phones come out, you'll see benchmarks, how much faster it is in the last few generations, but that's generally it. iPhone processors are always so good and give you so much headroom. And the best compliment I could give these processors is that you don't think about them at all. They don't tend to get overly warm. They don't tend to have throttling issues. They're just generally fast processors. 15 Pro phones did get a little bit warmer than other generation iPhones, just in all fairness. On the Google side, since they ditched Qualcomm, they are in their third generation of their own in-house processor. Tensor G2, what came before the G3 that's in the Pixel 8 Pro, was not the best processor out there. It slowed down, it had throttling issues, it had issues with heat management. It was not clearly as good as what Apple was doing on the silicon side. I think it was fairly deficient to what Qualcomm was doing with their Snapdragon series of chips. The G3 looks to finally catch Google up to the other processors. Now again, I'm only using this for, like 6 weeks now, so I can't really say how it's gonna do over time, but I am seeing no signs of slowdown whatsoever, which is nice with the G3. It is incredibly fast, and I think I finally have confidence in the G3 as a very capable chip that can rival what Qualcomm and Apple are doing. And it's been pretty incredible for battery life as well. I'm seeing screen on time as far as 8 or 9 hours, not something that I saw with previous generation Pixel phones. It has been really, really incredible. It's also going to charge faster at 30-watt fast charging versus the iPhone's 27-watt charging. And I think Google surprised a lot of people with their 7 years of OS security and feature updates. Now, Google's been known to promise like a lot of stuff and then ultimately kill it, but they will support it, and I believe they will support it on the 8 Pro for 7 years. It just might not be there for the 9 Pro, 10 Pro, whatever else they do. That is awesome. That is also a huge peace of mind. So a phone you buy in 2023 will get an OS update and security updates in 2030, which is absolutely incredible. On the other software side, where you see Google start to flex, I think the most is in AI. And there is a lot of AI going on with these phones and how it's processing images, how it's processing text to voice, how it's handling photos and videos, which I will talk about. AI is an integral part of what Google's doing with this phone, and they are probably amongst the best at doing it, and it is incredible on the Pixel 8 Pro. On the AI side, on the iPhone, if I ask Siri for something, mostly she'll still tell me what she found on the web. If there's one area you could pinpoint where Apple is so far behind, it is in AI. Now, allegedly, iOS 18 will sort of fix a lot of those things. When it comes to putting these two together just based on AI, it is clearly not a fair fight. What is a slightly fairer fight is talking about cameras. So with the Pixel, you get 3 cameras. The main sensor is 50 megapixel, which is sort of a nice high resolution. The ultra wide and 5x telephoto are also 48 megapixel, which is the resolution you expect from usually the main cameras on most phones. iPhone's got a 48 megapixel main camera and a 12 megapixel telephoto ultra wide camera. So this year on the Pro Max, telephoto's bumped to 5x like the Pixel, but the resolution is one of the main holdbacks of the camera system. Again, if you pick any Pixel phone, no matter what you think about Pixel phones, no matter what you think about screens or processors, The Pixel's been great since day one at still photos, and they have gotten better and better every single year. It's probably going to be a personal preference which photo you prefer. In fact, let's just do a blind sample here and tell me which one you prefer. Put up a bunch of photos, A or B, which ones look better to your eyes. Look at all the usual stuff, look at colors, look at how shadows are being reproduced. Tell me which one you prefer, A or B, before I tell you which is which, just so you know. A is the Pixel 8 Pro and B was the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You can see how close these are. So camera hardware is only one part of the equation, but software is arguably more important to these systems. So Google, as always, takes software just up like 40 levels. And the biggest flex there is Magic Editor. Once you change everything in a photo, you can remove things from the background, adjust the lighting, and a ton of other stuff. Even move a subject somewhere else in the frame. And if you're taking photos of people, you adjust the faces of these people in the photos to select the best one, which has been awesome for someone who's got a lot of kids. And oftentimes, one's looking like this in one of the photos. It's made family photos a lot easier. The iPhone does not have as many flashy features, but it does have a new crop mode. Lets you shoot in simulated focal lengths, which was nice. But one of the best software features to come to any phone for a long time is in the video section. You can now shoot log in ProRes, which is really nice and enables us to use our iPhones as dedicated video cameras for shoots like this, which is not something we could do in the past. You take that, coupled with a USB Type-C for external storage devices, and we now have a very capable B-cam or mobile camera, which was really hard to do before just due to file sizes. It was filling up these phones incredibly quickly. And I think the old adage of Apple being so far ahead of photo versus Android is not so true anymore. I think what Google's done has been incredible for video and in a lot of ways caught up. I think the iPhone is better for kind of like real video, if that makes sense. The Pixel is perfectly fine for day-to-day video. But if I'm picking one of these up just for video, it's the iPhone. And if I'm picking one of these up just for stills, it was a Pixel since day one, and it's still the Pixel on the 8 Pro. When you're looking at these phones, it's hard not to think also about the future of these phones. I think for a while we saw Android phones try to get more iOS-like, and now we're seeing Apple phones clearly becoming more Android-like. We got USB Type-C. Apple supporting RCS coming soon was, I think, one of the biggest shocks. Side-loading apps is coming, depending on who you believe, sometime in the next 6 to 12 months. Apple is becoming more open than they ever were before, but this debate of Pixel versus iPhone still comes down to iOS versus Android, and probably even more boils down to which one of these categories matters more to you. If photography above all else matters to you, go Pixel and you will be thrilled with that phone. If it's video above all else, go the iPhone. But if you don't have any loyalty to ecosystem and all categories are equal to you, I think the Pixel 8 Pro is a better phone, but the feature that matters most to me is video on my daily basis. I can use this phone as a dedicated camera in the studio. That saves me a ton of money, and everything else from there is secondary. But for me, when I have both these phones on a table and I gotta pick a winner, I'm gonna pick up the iPhone 15 Pro Max.